Don't suck at direct mail. Love having these groups because I get to say that a lot. For those of you that we have not had the pleasure to meet, my name is Dave Carroll. I am the CEO over at Dope Marketing, and we like direct mail. And the purpose of this group, this is the first video of many, is going to be sharing information, strategy, content, everything you can think around how to send successful direct mail, plan out successful direct mail campaigns, do testing, anything you can think of. And this group is going to be really cool because we have the ability to share all this content in one place and not convolute any of our other groups. So without further ado, today's topic is the difference between Eddm and direct mail. And there's a lot of differences between the two. Eddm is every door direct mail. And what that is, it allows every door direct mail is a system that came out from the United States Post Office about 8 years ago. Maybe it was a little bit longer, but I know I started getting into it about 8-9 years ago. Eddm allows you to do what's called saturate an entire carrier route, meaning Dave the mailman goes out, he delivers to 3 carrier routes in a day, and every single person on that carrier route, $1 million house, apartment building, shanty, whatever, they all get a mail piece. Doesn't matter, Eddm. There's some benefits to Eddm. It's much more of a shotgun approach. You have the ability through Eddm to saturate, is what it's called, cover an entire area. As to where direct mail is going to be a little bit different. It's very important you understand the difference between these two. That's why we started with this video. Direct mail is traditional mail, meaning someone has a mailing list, a customer list, a list of prospects, a list they got from a company like us, homeowners, house over 400,000, lived there for 2 years, has kids, whatever filters. Direct mail is sent to a list, meaning you design a piece, and instead of everyone on the carrier route getting it, like Eddm, direct mail is sent to everyone on an entire list. And there's a big difference and a couple things that we're going to go over. We put a guide together that I'll post a link in the group here eventually when we formalize this thing. But basically, we're going to go over some main differences between Eddm, saturation mailing, and direct mail, sending mail to a list. The big differences are the targeting options, the cost, what you're going to pay for postage. Printing is going to be the same, but what you're going to pay for postage. How much work is involved from you, the company, what you have to do. Because with Eddm, you're going to have to do a lot more work than you will with direct mail, but it costs less. And then, of course, the results. What type of results are we going to get? The difference between the results off of direct mail and the difference between Eddm, and then some cool tricks to combine the two. So first off, the targeting between Eddm and direct mail. The difference in the targeting is that, like we covered, direct mail you're going to send to a list. So you can get very, very specific. Let's say you only want to send to houses over 4,500 square feet, or you only want to send to houses with people over a certain age or over a certain income. That's what you do with direct mail. Now, with Eddm, you have to hit the entire carrier route, but Eddm, every door direct mail, will allow you to kind of filter out. You can see like the top zip codes by income or age ranges. There's some targeting options, but it doesn't matter how you target because you still have to hit anyone. So you still have to hit everyone. So number one most important thing to understand is the targeting. Direct mails to a list, Eddm, you're going to hit every single person in that area. Number two is the cost, and the cost is a lot different. You can get on Eddm, you get a flat rate of like 19 cents and some change using Eddm. Your printing is going to be the same, whether it's 10, 20, 50 cents a piece, whatever volume you're mailing. You're going to have your printing cost and your postage cost. And so with Eddm, because you're saturating the whole carrier route, because you're hitting the whole thing, you actually have the ability to, you save some money. It's only 19 cents. As to where standard mail is going to cost you anywhere from like 29 to 37, 38 cents, depending on what you're doing. If you've used, there's 2 types of postage rate for direct mail, and you have standard postage, which will deliver in 3 to 14 days. You have first class mail that'll deliver in 1 to 3 days. All Eddm mail is standard, so it can take 3 to 14 days to deliver after you drop it off. With direct mail, you can do the 3 to 14 day with standard mail. It's going to cost 29 to 38 cents. First class mail is going to cost anywhere from 38 to 55 cents to get that guaranteed 1-day delivery. And we'll talk more about different postage rates and where to use them later on in the group. So the cost, if you're taking notes, the cost is a big thing here. Eddm is going to cost you printing. Direct mail is going to cost you printing, whatever your printing rate is, 10, 20, 50 cents per piece, whatever that is, depending on what you're sending. The postage rate on Eddm is going to be it's like 19.7 cents. And on standard direct mail, it's going to cost anywhere from 29 to 55 cents, depending on what you're doing. So you get a discount for sending direct mail. And it goes into the next point. It's because of the work involved. So we've covered the targeting. We understand the list versus saturation. We've covered the cost. Eddm is going to be a little cheaper than direct mail, but you have to send more. And you can't target as well. So now the work involved. There will be companies that do full service mail for you, that do whether it's the list, the Eddm targeting, the printing, the postage, the handling, but they'll charge you a fee for that. A lot of people, business owners, use Eddm because you can get a little bit cheaper rate on what you're doing, depending on how involved you are. Meaning, you can get on the Eddm tool on USPS. Just Google it, USPS Eddm tool. And you can see what carrier routes you're going to hit. You're going to have to print a bunch of paperwork with Eddm, fill it out, and they're called facing slips. You have to bundle your Eddm batches in 100 and then put a facing slip in every one. So there's some work involved. It goes along with that discount you get. To where direct mail is going to be very full service. Direct mail, the company should have a list, the printing, the postage, the tracking, everything all in one place. So Eddm versus direct mail. More work involved with Eddm, but like with most things, if you put some more work in, you get it for a little cheaper. Now take away the targeting and whatever. Eddm's got its place, and we'll talk about that. But really, understanding that you get a cheaper cost for Eddm because you have some work involved. That's the biggest thing to take from that part of this. The last thing we want to go over is the results. What's the results, Dave? We talked about targeting, we've talked about cost, we've talked about the work involved. Why does any of this matter? Eddm, because you're not targeting people, you're going to get a 0.25 to a 1% return rate. That's going to be the average of how many people are going to call you out of 1,000. It's going to be, 100 or 10, whatever, 0.25 to 1%. On direct mail, you're going to get a 3 to 5% callback return rate. Now, are either of these stats on the higher end going to happen right away? Absolutely not. Like with anything, you have to be consistent. And so that goes into some strategy. You can send an Eddm campaign. We have an area here in the Twin Cities, Edina, Minnesota. High-end area. There's 3 or 4 zip codes out there. I've done it in the past where we do an Eddm drop to that whole area, and then we pull a list of homeowners and we do a second and third mailing to them. There's all different types of strategies, and that's what this group is here for. We're going to continue to share these strategies and the results and different things that you can do with your direct mail campaigns. But the big thing here is understanding, no matter what you do, you have to hit a house 3 times. Whether you're sending a couple hundred, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 plus, mailing, whatever. The idea is that you hit a house a couple times. You want to establish that brand recognition. Good marketing creates trust. Direct mail creates trust because people, they see it, they feel it, it's consistent. If someone's getting something every month, they might not necessarily want it that first month, but if you hit them the second, the third month, the fourth month, or every couple weeks, now you're beating into their head. If a person is to use that service, they're going to use your company for it. Pretty relative. I've had years with my cleaning company that I'm in the process of selling where we've sent upwards of 1 million pieces of mail a year. And I will take credit in that business with how we grew it was using direct mail with some other strategies that we'll talk about here in the group. So as a quick summary, we've talked about the differences between Eddm, every door direct mail, and traditional direct mail. The first thing is the targeting. Eddm, you got to hit everyone. Direct mail, you can hit a very targeted list. That's very powerful and very important to understand. Number 2, cost. Eddm is going to be cheaper than direct mail from a postage rate, but you're going to have to send more because with direct mail, you could send to a list of 10 people or 50 people or 100 people. Your printing is going to cost more. Your postage will be a little more, but you don't have to meet the minimums for hitting a whole carrier route with Eddm. So cost, Eddm is going to have printing cost the same, less postage on Eddm, better targeting with direct mail. You're going to have a little bit more work involved unless you want to pay someone to do it with Eddm, because you have to do all the facing slips and take it to the specific carrier routes to get the best postage discount. There's some work involved with Eddm, but because you put in that work, you get it a little cheaper. And the last is the results. Direct mail is going to yield a better result than Eddm, but you can use Eddm for a shotgun approach and then use direct mail to kind of get in there. That's not a strategy I recommend necessarily. I like sending small direct mail campaigns, 1,000, 2,500, 5,000 to the same house every 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. That's the strategy that's worked the best for me. But whatever works best for your business. Mail comes with budget. Mail's not cheap. Stamps aren't cheap. Printing isn't cheap. Handling isn't cheap. We've done a good job of consolidating that, and we'll talk about that more here in the group. Before I wrap up, we'll do some quick Q&A here. I know we only have like 10 people watching, but quick Q&A. If you guys have any questions right now as far as differences between Eddm and direct mail, what you guys are looking to do with your business. If it's not in the live video and you don't have any Q&A right now, post it in the group. I'm personally monitoring along as well as the rest of our team is monitoring this group, going over what questions are getting asked. We're going to get you guys good at mail. That's the focus of this group. So we'll save this video. The difference between Eddm and direct mail. We'll have a guide and a playbook coming out so you guys can download it and get some of this stuff on paper. We'll always be doing guides and playbooks. If you have suggestions, if you have questions, if you want stuff you want videos about, post it here in the group. Hope you guys have an amazing, amazing Tuesday, and we'll see you guys later this week as we post more content. Thanks, guys. Later.